the
All right.
screen that's in front of us now that we have a significantly better setup to do this show. You see down in the corner where there's a red dot that says record?
I do now. I see,
It would be right there.
I see it now.
All right.
So we'll start.
Ready?
Yeah.
I'm
Spider-Man.
so fucking excited, dude. Oh my
Spider-Man.
gosh. Okay.
Dude.
Where do we begin? Okay, first off, no spoilers.
Okay,
No
yeah,
spo-
okay, so we're
first-
starting off with those spoilers, and then we're going to get to a point where we're changing. So, about in the middle of the video, just leave.
Somewhere in the middle of the
Get into the
podcast,
movie.
we will put a big spoiler
Yes.
warning on this
We will not do that to you.
because shit, dog. Okay, listen.
It's pretty great.
Everyone, we just saw Spider-Man No Way Home, right? That's
Yeah.
the movie. I can't. My biggest complaint with this movie is its name. I hate all of the
I
home
didn't
naming scheme.
understand it. I
It
didn't
all- yeah,
understand it. That's all I can say. I
even
didn't
after
understand.
watching the movie, I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't get the title. But
actually, in the middle of the movie, that's why I was so confused, because
we'll get there.
I
We'll
was,
get there.
oh yeah,
Okay.
I didn't understand it.
But we just saw Spider-Man No Way Home. Literally, it's Thursday night. It's like 8 o'clock. We saw like a 4 o'clock showing of the movie.
Yeah.
And it was decently long. The movie's like at least 2 hours.
It felt long, like, I wanted more, though. Like, I'm not saying it felt too long, but
It felt long, but
yeah.
it felt adequately long. You know,
yeah,
like, you know when you watch
it was
Goodfellas,
like a good length
yeah,
for a movie.
you know when you watch Goodfellas and you're like, man, this is 3.5 hours long, but it uses every second of that 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
That's about how this movie felt.
I agree.
Overall, if I had to say, if you're on the fence, if you're burnt out on Marvel, like I've kind of been for a couple weeks,
There's a lot coming out.
There's two.
It's kind of difficult to keep up.
That's my biggest problem right now with Marvel movies. There's so much going. We went to see this movie. There were 2 Marvel movies in the theater. There was Eternals and Spider-Man, both still playing at our movie theater.
I'm just gonna wait for Eternals to come on Disney Plus.
Yeah, same. But we go to a decently small movie theater.
Yeah.
You know, because I like that environment. And even the movie the showing we saw was not completely packed, you know. I
Yeah.
think we saw like the second showing of the day.
It was actually emptier than I thought it would be.
Yeah, it was. I was actually expecting it to be completely full because they were, when I bought my tickets, they were going like that. But there was actually, but not to say like there wasn't a ton of hype behind this movie.
Yeah.
But if you've been kind of burnt out on Marvel stuff, like I kind of am, because I was watching the shows and watching the movies, and I was like getting a little overwhelmed as, you know, the end of the year came, and they're like, here's 3 movies in 3 months, and also these 2 TV shows and all this. If that's been an issue for you, go see this one, and I guarantee you it will refuel you. I guarantee
Yeah.
you'll be ready for what's next.
Yeah.
You'll be super excited for what's coming up.
Very satisfying. Very, like, it was just, I really enjoyed it. I think this one will have less complaints than other movies, but every movie's gonna have like the complaints, and just
And like
get ready for that.
we
'cause-
just saw the movie. Like
Yeah.
saw the movie. So we have seen
Literally have just walked out
nothing
of the
on the
theater and
internet
came in.
because there's nothing on the internet yet.
Yeah, we also avoided spoilers because we're smart and we didn't want to ruin the movie.
Yeah, because there were so many. We did watch the trailers and stuff,
Yeah.
so we weren't completely
But
ignorant.
there were actual leaks on YouTube. Like, people put videos of the movie on YouTube.
We didn't see
and
any of that.
I luckily avoided that. I saw it on the news afterward.
I was just like, nope. We shut down and went and see it.
Yeah, especially on Twitter.
Overall, I would say this definitely, like, I went in, I asked you, do you think this movie's gonna crack your top 5 Marvel movies?
Yeah, and-
you said yes.
Yeah.
I said no, I don't think it's gonna. I've been tempering my expectations with this movie the
And that was
entire time.
in the movie. The
That's-
expectations.
Don't worry, we'll get there. But I've been tempering at my expectations of how good this movie is going to be the
Yeah.
entire time, because I was like, I have got to just lower my expectation. I'm not buying in all the hype, because this movie could very well come out and it's just not going to be good.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, so far, Phase 4 of Marvel has not thrown me, like, blown me out of the water. The only, I haven't seen Eternals. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
But WandaVision,
Yeah,
I thought I
technically
really,
WandaVision's
yeah,
Phase 4, and I
including
really
the shows.
loved- yeah.
WandaVision, you know, I really enjoyed. We commentated that on Catch a Movie commentary. But WandaVision, I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
And Shang-Chi, I thought was a good departure
I still have to watch that one.
One of the things I want to address about this movie, and it happened in Shang-Chi too, was the fact that this movie, this Spider-Man movie, and Shang-Chi do not feel like Marvel movies. And I say that in a good way, because they're reinventing themselves. These movies, when I say they don't feel like, they aren't shot like Marvel movies. They haven't been shot like we've been watching these movies for like the past 10 years, you know?
Yeah.
It does not feel like it's even the same studio. Like it feels like it's reinventing. They're finally like going things like, oh, we don't have to stick to this same thing. We got to reinvent ourselves. We got to do some cool stuff.
You have to remember these are newer characters, especially Shang-Chi.
Mhm.
And Spider-Man is not new, but John Watts has done every movie, and he was newer when he came on doing movies because, Captain America and Iron Man and Thor were already established movies by the time that John Watts started directing Spider-Man. So he's still newer than the other people who have done movies. I really like his style. I liked all the Spider-Man movies. So and this one was a really good addition.
Comparing this to the other Spider-Man movies in just in the MCU Spider-Man movies, I would say this is definitely the best. Like out of all three,
I agree.
Easily the best.
I agree.
And this is someone who,
it's top 5 Marvel movies.
this is coming from me who, I really liked Far From Home.
Yeah.
I did not like Homecoming. When I first saw Homecoming,
it wasn't as memorable as either of the other two.
I was so worried about Tom Holland after that movie because I thought he was so unbelievably whiny.
Did you?
The entire movie, I just felt like he was just this. It was like, I think it was especially bad when he's like pinned under the rubble and stuff, which I get is like a very like arduous moment, but he's been crying this entire movie.
Stop crying.
And like people complain about the Iron Man stuff. I didn't give a shit about that because the entire.
I understand the Iron Man father figure thing because apparently Uncle Ben.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man. This Tom Holland Spider-Man, I feel like has been a great representation of Spider-Man in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like if Spider-Man was introduced into the MCU under these circumstances in this world, this is how he would act.
Yeah.
However, I think this movie is going to do some great things for the character, and we'll get there. But like overall, shot very nice.
Yeah.
Story was fantastic. We had a few teary-eyed moments, like legitimately.
Yeah. I'm easily like emotionally moved by movies though, so it happens to me every time.
Yeah, I'm too, but like still.
Yeah.
I think overall, like all the characters in this, it's occurring to me now, there was not one moment in this movie where the dialogue took me out. This might actually be the best like spoken word written dialogue in any Marvel movie. Like just in the way that these characters speak, there was never a moment in the entire film where I was taken out of it. And normally that happens like with at least one time in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And
actually, yeah, even the jokes were very natural. Like it wasn't
exactly.
It wasn't very like
they've really striked
like they weren't trying
balance.
Too hard. Yeah.
They've really struck a balance with the humor now.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Like people will complain about like how much humor was going on in these movies in the MCU.
Well, it is also Spider-Man, so
yeah, but in this one, it feels so natural.
Yeah, it didn't like it was not. I've seen some cringy humor in Marvel movies. Like I'm sorry to say, but
we're
this
sorry.
One was never.
What are those Black Panther stands? But your joke was dated before the movie came out.
Like you talked about memes before. Memes are very dated.
Yes.
But
which they reference one Spider-Man meme in all of it, which I feel like, you know what? Fine.
And it made sense.
And
it wasn't outlandish, and it was, it
wasn't insane.
It was like I said, like you said, it was very natural, and I was like, and nothing took me out. You're right. I agree. I think that was one of the best things about that movie.
I'm just trying to think what else we can go into without spoiling this movie.
Some very good shots of Spider-Man.
Web slinging was really fun.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it on par. The web slinging in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, the Andrew Garfield ones, there's some great cinematography in the way in when Spider-Man is swinging.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's fine. I'm trying to think what else we can add on. I think this is really going to strike off. If I'm going to be real, I feel like this is the real first movie in Phase 4.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this is the actual
It's
one.
setting
where
up the big. It has to be. I mean, I'm not really sure how yet. Like,
and like I said, I haven't
yeah.
seen Eternals yet. I'm waiting for Disney Plus because I'm not sitting in a movie theater for 3 hours.
Yeah. So I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it either. I'm not caught up. I haven't watched Shang-Chi or any of the shows or anything.
We left, yeah, because you've been gone, so you have to catch up on a lot of stuff.
So I think what maybe will connect pieces for me, maybe Loki, because I know Loki has a lot of stuff in it, but I haven't seen that either.
I even told you that I think Loki would be important to this movie. Not at all. There are certain things visually that I think, particularly in the realm of Doctor Strange, that tie in with some of the visual stuff in Loki with like the multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
But it was in no way necessary to understand the plot of the movie. So even if you're behind on Marvel stuff, you can still see this one.
And
as long as I would say you've seen the other Spider-Mans, you're fine.
Yeah. I will say this is not a spoiler. I just want to say some of the Easter eggs, you have to go back with a computer to understand what they showed, because like some of them went by so fast, or some of them were you couldn't really like see. Maybe you have to like look closer at, like there were some they showed that it was hard to tell, but there were a lot of Easter eggs. I mean, there are in every Marvel movie, but this one especially, I think, had a lot of stuff that we'll understand later. We have to look on YouTube for that.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be so many breakdowns.
The analysis is just gonna be
so many breakdowns.
Or we think that we'll find everything. Years later, people will discover stuff too, so we'll never actually know.
Is there anything else you want to add before we go into spoilers?
No.
Can we give a rating?
I really want to talk about the movie.
Where is this ranking in Marvel movies? For me, I'm gonna put it like at least. I'm thinking 3, 4, or 5. Like in terms of like from my top 5, it's somewhere in there. It's definitely the best Spider-Man we've gotten so far from the MCU.
I'm trying to think. I know it's not my top. It's not my top 2. Is it over there? Is that
okay? They're up here.
I have to say it may be 3, because I know it's not my top 2. I know what my top 2 are.
Guardians 2, Iron Man 1, Captain America. I wouldn't put Captain America above this one.
I would put Captain America above Iron Man for me, because I love the character of Captain America.
I would put Iron Man first.
But I don't know. It's hard to say, because
it's up there.
I'm thinking of Guardians 2, and I'm thinking Infinity War, because I love the first of the 2 installments. That's like one of my favorite Marvel movies ever, because of how cool Endgame was also cool too. It's gonna be my top 5 somewhere.
Endgame deserves a place there.
This movie has amazing stuff in it that has to.
Infinity War and Endgame deserve a place in like a top 5 like together.
Yeah.
Sincerely, because of how much of a monumental point in cinema this is. I know we make joke like the freaking. I know Martin Scorsese's out there saying that Marvel movies aren't real cinema.
I don't care.
I think listen.
Those movies
you made some good
to tears multiple times.
Yeah, I don't care. You made a couple mafia movies. You're a good director, but guess what? I would challenge anybody to be able to put 21 movies.
Yeah,
leading up to a huge climax. It was one of like the most culturally impactful moments of like my years on this earth. Like I grew up with these films, and like literally it took 10 years.
I just love
10 years of cinema.
I love like the amount of lore they can pack into that. So you can get so much out of a universe, and you can experience so much of this one combined story. That's why Infinity War and Endgame are so amazing, because they take all these different movies and you get all these separate emotions by watching all these movies. And they combine the love you have for all these characters in this one movie. Which is why I love the Arrowverse for the same reason. Yeah. So it's like seeing those kind of crossovers and these emotional moments happen. Like I will always have a special place for these movies. And this one was awesome for me. I loved it. So this one's got to make my top 5 somewhere. I just can't. I have to sit down and think about it, because I have to look at all of the movies. And
you have to go through all of them, and like
because all of them have
and maybe
separate,
that's
like,
a podcast.
Amazing impact.
That's a podcast at some point. Is just going through these, but these really are
the Marvel movies.
It should not be understated the importance of what these movies have done. I would say have done for and have done to cinema, because like there has been a lot of problems in recent year of people trying to mimic the MCU, like stuff like the Dark Universe, you know, even the DCU, you know, like everyone's trying to do the Marvel thing, but like but the more pressing problem that I have with a lot of modern movies is just there's nothing original, and
Yeah.
but when you really go down to it, I know it's been going on for a while and it was taken from like comic book source materials, but bringing this stuff on, I think the reason the MCU released it because it was something new.
Yeah.
Like it was one continuous story, and yeah, we're so used to seeing a Marvel movie in a theater now.
Yeah.
But the reason that like I think this really grabbed people and held it was because it was something. It was something you could go to because it wasn't a remake of some movie from the 80s, but like done very poorly.
Yeah.
It wasn't some shameless cash grab. It wasn't some completely shameless cash grab at redoing a Chuck Jones cartoon.
Yeah.
And no pointing fingers in particular or desecrating the grave of Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
But like there wasn't some rehashed animation thing of something that was already done. It was done better.
Yeah.
Now if it gets like 50 years from now and they start remaking MCU movies, guess what? It's gonna fail.
Yeah. Good luck with that. They could never do that again, and I hope that we get new, like, because honestly, after we make enough of the MCU or the DCEU or DCAU, these characters, they're gonna get like worn to death, and I don't know. I don't think these characters are forever. I think that we'll have a new phase of characters eventually. And I'd love
I think
to see
the characters are forever. Do I think these movies are?
Yeah, the characters are forever, but I think that there's a lot of changes that can happen. You know what I mean? I don't know
as of
how
right
long
now
all these franchises are gonna last.
we have not reached
Or
the
can
point
last.
where I think Marvel is beating a dead horse. We have not reached that yet.
No, yeah,
And in
I
fact,
think
I
they
think-
could have a few more phases.
Yeah,
and like
I think there's legitimately room for at least several more phases.
Yeah.
Before like wrapping, hopefully, eventually wrapping this up conclusively.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we should add before like the final? Go see
No,
it.
I'm
Go
ready.
see it.
I'm just gonna say go see it
I
because
would
I'm
say
ready to talk about this. Is a
10
this
out of
amazing
10,
movie.
9 out of 10 maybe.
Yeah, I'd say 9 out of 10 because 10 out of 10 would be
10 out
like
of 10 is like one of my favorite movies of all time. So I would say
Yeah.
9 or 8.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 would be really really like amazing. So it was really really amazing, but 9 out of 10. Okay. That's all I can say. But I'm ready.
Here is your warning. I'm waving. Hi. So everyone's aware. Spoilers for Spider-Man No Way
Flashing
Home.
alert.
Boom, boom. I might put it
Spoilers.
on screen. I might not. Okay.
Screw you if we don't.
Spoilers. We finally got, with great power comes great responsibility.
And it came.
In such a new, cool way.
It came. Yeah,
I really like it, actually.
Yeah, it came from Aunt May. At first, and it came from Aunt May, and then it bounced off of Toby and
Yeah.
Andrew, and they
Yeah,
got.
dude, we're also, they're in the movie.
Yeah.
You can calm down, TikTok. They're in the movie.
And if you're just watching this to be chaotic,
Garfield
and you haven't
kicks
seen
the
movie,
lizard.
well,
Okay, we're good. We saw the deformities. Okay, we're
Yeah.
good. You won. You marketed Sony's movie for them.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Okay. But
And Electro, one complaint I had a little
there's
bit.
so much to unpack.
A little bit. Electro was a little bit different. The character was a little bit different.
Yeah, but I liked it.
I liked it too. I think he was hilarious, and I think that Jimmy Fox still plays him pretty well. I just think that the
I think it plays
nerdy
him better
the
than
nerdy Chester
yeah.
that we had before was Max. His name was Max.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeez,
Chester.
I cannot remember his name. It's Max. What's his name?
Ah, fuck.
Sorry, everybody.
This
Hey,
is
Google.
why Electro comes to kill us.
What is
because
Electro's real name?
Electro has been played by 7 actors.
No, hey Google, stop.
Jamie Foxx, Aaron Brink,
Hey
and-
Google,
Google, stop.
stop.
Okay.
It legitimately just started saying 4 things at once, right?
They just started like going crazy as soon as you said like they just jumped on your question.
But whatever.
Ravenous animals.
I like his portrayal.
Yeah,
First off,
I don't think it was
let's
bad. I think
unpack-
it was very different.
let's unpack
though.
the big things real
Yeah.
quick. Okay, Aunt May, the villains, and the Spider-Man. This movie, you're right. This movie should totally be
Marissa
called.
Tomei.
This movie should totally be called Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Spider-Man: No Way Home. I accidentally called them Spider-Man earlier.
Spider-Man? What?
I
Oh, on the
accidentally
phone?
called them. No, I accidentally called them Spider-Man in the video.
Mm-hmm.
when I was talking. I said they get some really good shots of Spider-Man, but it sounded like Spider-Man. So
Yeah, you're fine.
who were watching probably did
But
not notice. If you're watching this far, you. might
So,
notice.
which one should we attack first? I feel like those are the big three things we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Which one?
Aunt May's death.
Aunt May.
I want to talk about that because you mentioned it first.
Aunt May is the one who not only dies in this movie in a very wrenching scene.
And the worst
Like,
part
this
is she
is-
dies the same way Goblin did in
Yeah,
Spider-Man 1.
It's like there's so many callbacks to the other Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, and I knew she got stabbed through the stomach. I even told
Yeah.
you, I was like,
They didn't show it. Is the thing. They don't really hold. I guess because
she
it's
had
a
her,
PG.
she had her bag
Yeah,
over,
they were
but
like.
I knew that as soon as he ran into her, like they had spikes on it.
Mhm.
That he must have stabbed her in the stomach, and she was in shock.
They
so maybe
try
she
to
didn't
play
feel
it up like
or
maybe
there's-
she
yeah.
doesn't feel it and she's in shock and stuff because like she gets up and like moves around a
It's
little
possible she did feel it and just didn't want to
And
feel
yeah.
it. You know?
bit. But like, for those who are a bit more versed in comics, I think it's very clear that the MCU has taken a lot from the Ultimate Universe. That line of comics, we're trying to redid the Marvel Universe. I think it has had a huge impact on just how they do these movies because it's a bit more simple for
Yeah.
a while, and it's a bit more streamlined for like the average viewer.
Yeah.
And I would say Marissa Tomei's depiction of Aunt May has been way closer to the Ultimate Universe Aunt May than it has been to the traditional. I'm gonna
Definitely.
I'm gonna cook you baked goods Aunt May. You know,
Yeah. The older Aunt May.
yeah, the older Aunt May.
Yeah.
I think she's done a good job. Like I thought she was fine. You
Yeah.
know, like like comparing all the ones, it's like, yeah, the original is really good, and the one in Amazing Spider-Man is completely fine.
Yeah.
This one's like changes a few things, and I'm fine with it.
I just thought it was very funny that every Spider-Man movie, it was even
She
a
got
joke
younger.
that she got younger, and then this is the first one who's died. The youngest Aunt May is the only
The one that's
who's
dead.
died, and I was like, of course.
And because normally, here's the thing: you don't associate Aunt
And
May
I
with
don't know about
as
the actors. I want to say that before we.
yeah,
continue, but I don't know.
the one from Amazing or from the original Spider-Man. I think she was like 90 in that movie.
Aw, sad.
I think I can't remember her name.
Bless her.
If you grab the VHS, I could tell you, but like,
Yeah.
but like, her being the one to finally say, with great power comes great responsibility, kind of giving that motivation that like, the real motivation of like, why is Spider-Man in the MCU?
Yeah.
I think it went from being something that we were all kind of longing for and like kind of wanted to see more of.
Yeah.
To changing into something that became a slow burn. I think when if in like a year or 5 years you rewatch all three of these Spider-Man movies,
Yeah.
they're gonna be so much better than when we watched them one by one.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where I think it was tailor crafted for that. As for like. It's very poetic the way she dies. She dies by the Goblin glider. You know, the way Willem Dafoe dies in the first Spider-Man movie, in the Tobey Maguire movie.
Yeah.
The moving towards the villains of this movie.
Yeah, and they were all really, really. I loved like how all of them were played, and I think all of them had like really good resolutions. I think that
Mhm.
was the best part of the movie. It was sort of a conclusion to a lot of plots that we didn't even know were left.
Yeah, we didn't even
Unconcluded.
realize it's like, oh, this gives us like a narrative conclusion to character arcs that we thought were done.
Yeah.
You know, like it does like a lot with Doc Ock. And by the way,
Yeah.
it can. There's 5 villains in this movie. Really,
It's
Doc Ock, Green Goblin, the
Yeah.
Lizard, Electro, and Sandman.
yeah.
5 of Spider-Man's like biggest rogues in this gallery, and yet this movie completely, and I mean completely, avoids the Amazing Spider-Man 2 problem
Yeah.
of not giving these characters justice. I would say 4 of the 5 villains get completely adequate screen time
Yeah.
and completely like adequate growth and like evolution in their characters.
Yeah.
Um
See, all 5 you get the conclusion, but we have. I think you were talking about Lizard, who gets kind of the least.
Lizard's
plot.
the one that gets the shortest end of the stick.
I agree. I think they focused on Lizard the least, and he got his resolution. And I know
But
that he
I'm-
was against being,
I'm gonna be real because I think he gets the most. I think he has the most like satisfying arc of these villains in his original movie.
yeah,
Like Kurt Connors, at the end of the movie, like they even make a joke about it. It's like, yeah, I cured him once. Like we already did this.
yeah,
So like the Lizard, pretty solid. Like was solid. They did fine. They actually tweaked the Lizard's design a lot in this movie, but it's all you still recognize it as the Lizard from that movie.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look. He has a snout now. He's a bit more like he looks more like a He's absolutely sounds like a Jurassic Park
When he just
dinosaur.
got on the beach and just
And
straight
roars. I want someone
like,
to overlay the roar he does with the roar from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
With the T-Rex roar.
it would fit.
It would absolutely work.
Yeah.
It would absolutely work.
Dang.
Who would you say is your favorite villain of the ones we saw on screen? Because it's a toss-up for 2 for me. It's a real toss-up for 2, and I wonder if you have something similar.
Let me think. I was glad to see. I really like Sandman. I was glad to see
Sandman's
him
fun.
again, but we didn't really get a lot. I thought we were gonna get more Sandman helping. Sandman actually did become basically an opponent the entire movie because he was always like he started fighting Spider-Man the first time they met after like he took Electro away. He started fighting Spider-Man at the Statue of Liberty until he was healed. He almost killed Tobey Maguire.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we didn't really get to see a lot of Sandman helping like I thought he would. So I didn't think he was gonna be a villain in this movie
Mm-hmm.
at all. But I guess I understand. He just wanted to get home and didn't really care about the other people. He was like trying to help them and slowing me down. I'm like he was thinking he was gonna die again. So
For me,
understandable.
the 2 villains that I was invested in the most in this movie were Doc Ock and Goblin.
I was gonna say Goblin. I think that Goblin because like I said, the scene where Spider-Man's on him and punching him and he starts laughing. That was kind of like that chilling Goblin, like he's crazy moment.
Oh yeah, it was
And we
it
got
was
some cool
closer
scenes
to
of
a
actually
Joker.
Norman Osborn. Like he was very intense. He was more intense villain than we've seen Spider-Man fight.
Yeah.
Quentin Beck was not that intense. The Vulture was not that intense. We got, and it's sort of funny that
It was
Tobey
brutal.
Maguire's Green Goblin had a significant effect on Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
By killing his Aunt May, and I'm like, dude, it's so because he's gonna go back to his universe. We'll probably never see these characters again.
Yeah.
And he's gonna have to remember this man he sent back and saved is the one who killed his aunt,
Yeah.
and it's some other Spider-Man's person who did
And this
this. So it's not even his
put a
his
pin in
fault
this
at
for
all.
when we talk about the Spider-Man, because
I mean-
man, does this affect the Spider-Man.
Yeah,
But
Spider-Man.
Goblin is insane yet sympathetic, because I really feel bad for him at a bunch of points in this movie.
Yeah, when he's actually helping and like getting people together, and then like
Yeah.
you see him,
And then you see, like, it's
his
very
trigger
clearly,
is basically like Doc Ock saying, "You're gonna have no dark side" or
Mhm.
something like that. He says some to that effect, and his dark side triggers and says, "I don't want to die." And he starts trying to defend himself, which is when all the shit happens.
Can we say I love that scene where Peter is standing in a room with 4 or 5 of like his greatest foes, or
Yeah.
four. His lizard's locked in a van.
Yeah,
Part of the reason he doesn't get a ton of problem or
yeah,
a ton of screen time. But that scene where he is just listening to the spider sense and is trying to figure out who in this room is about to stab him in the back.
yeah,
Who is setting off the spider sense.
yeah.
I love that scene.
I thought it was gonna be Lizard because as soon it showed a shot of Lizard like saying something
Mhm.
is about to begin, and then as soon as we showed the shot of Lizard, it showed Spider-Man's spider sense start tingling.
Mhm.
So I was like, are we about to get
Is it Doc
Lizard
Ock?
attacking? Like,
Yeah.
because J. Jonah Jameson was there. I was like, is that why? I was thinking maybe that was why Triple J was significant because they
Mm.
showed him a lot in the movie, and I was like, maybe Lizard attacks him and it becomes something bigger. Like, we didn't get that.
This goes into one of my only real complaints with the movie. Listen, J.K. Simmons, we all agree you were the perfect casting for this movie,
Yeah,
or for J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
You were 20 years ago. You are today.
yeah.
But man, do I not like how they used him in this movie. He for like, I get they're kind of updating him to like the modern era,
yeah.
but he is way too much of an Alex Jones type,
Yeah.
like batshit insanity kind of like almost like Fox News commentator.
You know what I kind of, you know what I would like better? If they set him up as the same kind of personality he was, maybe how they changed, because in the old Superman stuff, Cat Grant was just a newspaper
Yeah.
reporter, and she became a magazine mogul and an entertainment person. They could have made J. Jonah Jameson something more modern, but still the newspaper and news person that he was, not this sort of Alex Jones guy.
Yeah.
And then when Peter's identity got erased, the next thing he
Like,
does
this
is
Alex-
go and
or-
puts in a Daily Bugle, because like J. Jonah Jameson still hates him, but he goes to work at the news place that hates him because like
this
he can provide pictures of Spider-Man and he makes money and he doesn't need any experience because that's all he has is pictures of Spider-Man. That's all he is
Yes.
anymore is Spider-Man.
This
So
J.
that's,
Jonah
I thought
Jameson
that would be interesting, but they didn't. do that.
definitely spews anti-vax content. Like
Ah.
absolutely.
Yeah, there was something to like about the old J. Jonah Jameson in the first movie because he was a dickhead, but you know, like
There was
I don't know. He
I'm
was
gonna
at
get
least
this really wrong. What I'm
likable
about to
character.
say, but there was an old comic. I can't remember what it was or where it was, but there's an old comic where J. Jonah Jameson gets some kind of like dirt on the X-Men, or maybe the Purifiers show up to talk to him or something. I can't remember exactly, but they basically want J. Jonah Jameson to run a smear campaign against the X-Men, and he's like, no, these people were born like this. Like
Yeah.
a very like clear like yeah, that's what the X-Men are about. Like, yo, they didn't ask for this. They're mutants. You know, I'm mad at Spider-Man because he's got this power, and then he's running amok being a vigilante.
Yeah.
You know, like you can kind of understand like where that J. Jonah Jameson comes
Yeah.
from. You really
And it wasn't
can't
completely
in
shitty.
any way sympathize with him in this movie.
I agree.
You know,
I do think it would have been cool if they would, because Spider-Man's known as being, and of course the reporter thing's been done a million times with
yeah,
Superman.
and they don't do that in this movie.
Yeah.
That frankly, there's just nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Iris
but
West is a reporter. I mean, yeah.
there's just so many. There's Lois Lane,
Vale.
freaking like every there's so many reporters in comic.
Yeah.
Eddie
So
Brock.
we don't need Eddie Brock. We don't need more
We don't need
reporters and TV
more
show
reporters.
hosts.
Clark Kent, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The two professions that are not looking to hire in comic books are detectives and photographers
Yeah.
or reporters.
Yeah, we don't just stop hiring these people.
Like the
There's
jobs
too many.
are filled.
Harvey
Uh,
Bullock, they all work in the fucking government. Harvey Dent,
But
district attorney.
speaking of freaking attorneys,
Oh yeah, we have.
this is such a
Mr.
moment we you gloss over because of how much other stuff is happening in
Yeah.
the movie.
It's just the very beginning.
Charlie Cox Daredevil is Peter Parker's attorney.
And somehow they spotted that in the trailer. I saw that on TikTok like when I was still in AIT
Yeah.
before September. I saw that a while ago that he was in the movie. Like there was a theory that he was.
Yeah.
I have no
I
clue
sent it
how
to
they
you.
figured that out that early.
I sent it to you because I'm like,
Did you?
yeah, he's like, there's a scene.
Because I remember I was talking
I
on the
got the
phone about all
scene
the
wrong,
theories
but
we
I'm
saw,
like,
but I didn't know if you said that.
Peter Parker's in legal battles. There's there's only so many like referenced lawyers that we can throw into a scene here.
Yeah.
So it was either gonna be Matthew Murdock or Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk.
Yeah.
And I feel like She-Hulk is not gonna show up.
That's a far throw, Marvel. You can't just.
She's
throw-
got a show
you just put
coming
that
up
in
though.
there.
You know, she's got a show
Would
coming
she
up.
look like She-Hulk if? Like,
That's a good question. Well,
isn't Jennifer Walters the one? Like, doesn't change back and forth? She just is
it
She-Hulk.
depends on what point in the history you're in.
Okay.
Sometimes
so we
she-
might not have her. Like
Sometimes she's always hulked out.
that. Yeah.
Sometimes she can control it, but the main thing is that Jennifer Walters doesn't have the split personality that Banner does.
Yeah.
She like when she hulks out, she gets angry, yeah, but
Yeah.
she's still
She's still Jennifer
Walters, you know.
Walters.
There's no like there's no Banner Hulk dynamic.
Jennifer
you know?
Walters smash.
Exactly.
Whoa. Calm down, Jennifer.
But and we trust me, people are already gonna throw out about Hawkeye. I know about the
haven't seen
thing.
that
Yeah,
either.
I'll save you. But I know about what's going on there, and I know, and Daredevil is not a surprise. But you haven't seen it yet. It's fine. Daredevil, being in this though, I'm stoked. I'm stoked because the dynamic of Daredevil and Spider-Man is so cool to me because like, yeah, Spider-Man covers all of New York. He's taking care of New York. Daredevil is like got this religious crusade
Hell's Kitchen.
to beat he is the devil of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
You know, and like as much as I would love to see these two just converse more in a movie. It's such a good scene.
I think it'd be cool
It's
if they put
such
them in
a
the
good
next one. I
scene.
mean, if
There
they
were
were putting
cheers
one.
in our theater when he was there.
Yeah. That was actually probably one of the biggest reactions we got because we were talking earlier, like everyone was kind of like in reverence for the whole movie, just watching all the fucking shit go down.
Everyone in our
that was one of the
theater,
biggest claps and cheers.
when we saw Endgame, it was a party. Like
Yeah.
everyone was so stoked.
going
And Infinity
crazy
War
during
is so much
Endgame.
fun. This movie, people are in awe. It's like remember when you were in a theater and you saw Infinity War, assuming you saw it in theaters,
Yeah.
and you know the crowd reaction of the last 10 minutes of that movie.
The first time I saw Infinity War, I was not in the theater. I saw it in someone's bedroom.
Did you? I thought you saw it with me.
No,
Oh, never mind.
it took me a long time to see it.
But
long time.
Infinity War, seeing that in theaters, that last 10 minutes, imagine that for about 2 hours. That's what this movie is.
Yeah.
And I think it's so great, and it makes me so excited for what's next. Like we were talking about, Doc Ock. I love what they do with him, and like, I forgot how much I miss watching Spider-Man fight those older, like the villains we always attribute
Yeah.
to him,
And
Doc Ock and Goblin.
That's what I thought was so funny is that he didn't know who any of these people were, like Lizard,
Yeah,
Doc Ock,
I had no
Electro,
idea.
and I was like, yeah, I guess they haven't had any encounter, like any chance to introduce these people, but they're such big Spider-Man villains that I was like, him being introduced to Green Goblin the first time and not being his Green Goblin is just insane. Because is he gonna get one
And
now
they
eventually?
even make a point to say that Oscorp doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know,
That was what was kind of funny to me too. Is like, okay, so they're not setting up a Goblin
No.
anytime soon either, because clearly there isn't a Norman Osborn.
and with the villains, I asked you, do you think we're gonna see the villains again? And I think the answer is no. I don't think
I
we're
think
gonna see
the answer is
any.
no too. I don't think we're gonna.
I
see
think we're
either.
done with these villains.
The only thing I could see is that they do like, because they imagine the hype that happened when the Endgame battle happened.
Yeah.
Everyone was portaling in from different places in the universe, and they had all the heroes there. The only thing I could see with the heroes coming back for is they have that moment again,
But
an
with
even
villains?
bigger crossover. No, but with like heroes from different universes.
Uh-huh.
Because if they're doing the multiverse thing now,
Oh,
if they
go
had some kind of
completely
battle
in-
where they're
yeah.
just portaling in different versions of all the heroes, like if they just have freaking what's his name?
Wesley Snipes, Blade, and freaking
What
Chris Evans says Human Torch.
Chris? Yeah, I was about to say
Like
Chris
that
Evans, Human
stuff?
Torch, and what's his name? Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Like they have just like a bunch of like a bunch of different versions of like a bunch of different like characters.
That's a deep cut with the.
That's what I'm saying. They like they do the deep stuff, and they bring back all the heroes that we have: Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield again.
Mhm.
The Spider was like they have some kind of universal battle. That'd be the only thing I could see them coming back for.
With, like,
and I know they're not gonna do that shit because that
Yeah.
would take so
So
much
much money.
licensing and
It
so
takes
much money. Shit, they would be like,
If that happens,
Quit.
Disney is a monopoly, and we need to break them up.
Job
They're
finished.
already a
job
monopoly,
finished.
but like if they would own all
No
of
reason to be
Hollywood for
happy.
that to happen, you know. But like
Job is finished.
the only other thing I think, let's move forward. I
Yeah.
think unless there's anything you want to add about the villains.
No, I just
All I want to say is that
Yeah.
Goblin fight, the ending Goblin fight, is such a pinnacle moment of where how this character has evolved.
I thought they were gonna kill Tobey Maguire because
I
he
thought
got-
for a second too. I was like,
he jumped
no
in front
way.
of him and he got stabbed, and I was like,
It's like no way.
no way they're gonna end it here. No way.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Goblin like was there too, so I was like, if they both die together, that'd be poetic. But
Let's talk about the Spider-Men of these movies.
I like the
let's
Spider
start.
Bros.
Let's start. You know how we'll do this? Let's do this in order of their movies.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in this movie. He's clearly the Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He's Tobey Maguire. He is that guy. He's got the organic webbing. They make a lot of jokes about that.
Yeah.
Um,
He didn't say, and then we finally figured out the leak they had with Andrew Garfield saying web blood.
Mhm.
Well, he said web block. He said,
web block.
"You ever get a web block?" And then he was doing this arm thing,
Mhm.
and he was like, you ever get a web block, and then people thought he was saying web blood, or like
Yeah.
you have web blood.
There were so
And
many
I recognized
leaks.
that, yeah.
leaks.
But the thing was that a lot of them were true. Like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot
I
of them
found
true.
out. Like
'Cause I'm
I saw
telling
was
you what
true.
happened is Sony was like, "Oh, we're not gonna spend $100 million to market our movie. We're just gonna let the internet do it for us." And you know what?
Just a few
They're
little
geniuses,
leaks.
and you all fell for it. You know,
We were woke, and we didn't fall for that at all. And I
you
didn't
can't
freak out over
trick
the
us,
leaks
movie.
for like
You
a
can't
week or
trick me,
anything.
Sony. Like, that
I
was
was not a nerd.
absolutely what I will
I never
die
have
on that
been.
hill that is exactly what happened. But Tobey Maguire in this movie, it's been 20 years. It's been 20 years since Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And and
Doc Ock's like, you've grown, and I was like, he has.
Yeah.
He's definitely grown.
because there's also some time elements of when these characters are pulled from where and stuff, but
Yeah.
like it's where it's convenient and easy for the plot.
Gotta say though, Tobey Maguire looked good.
Yeah, he
and
looks
I
good.
did not mean that last
looks-
comment as an insult.
Yeah.
He looked very good in that costume. I was like, good for you, Tobey Maguire.
He looks good in the costume.
because how
It
old
does
did
not
you say?
mean-
He's like 38.
No, Andrew Garfield's 38, I think. Or-
Tobey Maguire's like 36.
Do I have to tell the Google? Again?
No, I remember now.
No,
Tobey-
he's not 36.
Tobey Maguire is 46.
46.
He's 46.
or
'cause
48 or something.
He's 46 because I think I remember him being 8 years older than Andrew Garfield.
Okay, regardless.
Either way, he
He's
looks
older.
awesome for 46.
But yeah, he looks
Good
great
job.
for 46. But it's
He's never
clearly
gonna see this, but I
that
just want
he
him
is
to know that he
older.
looks good.
It is clear that, and they don't shy away from the fact that it's like, oh yeah, if we're going by like timeline wise,
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire's been Spider-Man for 20 years,
And it really got to me.
which is I think the same amount of time as the as the Peter Parker from Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
And they don't shy.
difference though. I think that we see that Peter B. Parker was not actually that Peter Parker.
No, it's not. It's not.
Because
But I'm
this
just
Peter Parker
saying.
seemed a
But
lot happier.
he is a lot like that one, not in like the depressing stuff, but like it's like, yo, I've been Spider-Man for 20 years. Okay,
Yeah,
I know what I'm
that's
doing.
a similarity, but I thought they might be the same. But now we see Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. He actually is pretty happy. It seems that him and MJ are still
Mhm.
on
Him
and
and
off.
MJ, he references MJ and like, yeah, it took a lot, but we made it work.
Yeah,
So he's like clearly happy, like,
yeah.
but they do make mention. It's like, yo, I'm the older Spider-Man here. Like, I got some back problems now.
Yeah.
I thought for a second that they were gonna say that he retired.
Yeah, because he was in like the jacket and stuff.
Because
and
he
I was
wasn't wearing
like-
the suit when we first saw him.
I didn't know he was gonna be in the suit, and I was gonna be really upset if they didn't have the Tobey Maguire suit at all.
They did drop.
And they did,
The
and it looked
entrance
awesome.
of
It was
the-
a lot
of
brighter.
The other
actually.
Spider-Man is not as fantastic as we expected. They just kind of pop in.
Yeah.
Ned and MJ find him. Like, yo, here we go. Yo,
Yeah.
hey, come on. Yo,
Like-
walk on the ceiling. Prove to me you're a
but
spider
again,
person.
I told you I like the shot where Ned first opens the first portal. He opens it up, and we see Spider-Man at the back of the alley. Like I told you, because of the bigger lenses and because of the colors of the suit, I automatically recognized that's Andrew
Andrew
Garfield. And when he looked at them and was like just looking because they like said Peter Parker, I was like, oh shit.
and then
it
he
was-
takes off the mask. Theater
and then
blew up.
he runs. Yeah, he runs towards them. He takes off the mask. It's him. Yeah, everyone freaks out. I thought that was an awesome shot. Tobey Maguire's was a little bit less climactic because they couldn't do the entire like runs from the dark thing again because
Yeah.
that's cheesy.
He's just there.
so
He's
he was
like,
he was
"Oh,
just
cool."
like kind of like standing right
And
in
he is
front of where
not.
they did the portal, and he was like,
He is
"Wow,
not
let me step
phased
through."
by this at all.
Yeah.
Like it's clear that he has seen weirder shit than this.
Yeah.
Like
I
this
mean,
is.
he was freaking about it. He was freaking out about Spider-Man fighting in space though. So he's never been to space, and he
He's
didn't
never
have the
been to
Avengers either, which is kind of sad that 20 years are
It's just
of Spider-Man, and yeah,
He's the only superhero.
That's I was thinking about them living universes where it's basically just them,
Mm.
and I think that sucks. I wish that they canonically like would have some, because all like my thing is like I
There's
think
just
the
not
DC
an
multiverse.
Avengers.
The DC multiverse always has like a few teams, at least a few teams in every universe,
in every universe.
and then in their universe it's just them. It's
Yeah,
just
it's
Spider-Man. And
just
I'm like,
Spider-Man.
what the heck?
But you know what? I like them in this movie are like Tobey Maguire. Like they give him some more development because like it really plays up. It's like his relationship with Doc Ock and Green
Yeah.
Goblin again, where it's like, yo, we fixed Ock now. Like we did what Tom Holland fixed Doc Ock.
And in a way, if you think about it, it's kind of sad that Harry didn't come back.
Yeah, there's no
because
Harry around.
that's the thing is like they acknowledged like it was everyone who like died fighting Spider-Man, but his best friend,
And
like,
the
he even
crux
acknowledged his
of
best
this
friend died
entire
too, and he knew who he
movie,
was, so it's like
and
they
where
could have
the-
been there.
the crux of this entire movie and where Tom Holland Spider-Man gets most of his development is in redeeming your villains instead of killing them.
Yeah,
And this is the thing that I think has always made Spider-Man more interesting to me than like Batman.
Sure.
You know, Batman doesn't kill because he's a mentally ill rich person who's going around beating up people because he won't go to therapy.
yeah.
If
If he kills, he can't keep beating them.
sorry, I love Batman, but like Spider-Man's always cool because Spider-Man wants to kill the Goblin. Like, there's no doubt in my mind if Tobey Maguire wasn't there, Tom Holland would have killed the Goblin.
Yeah.
Straight up, he would have ended there, like the end of Ultimate Spider-Man. That is how it would have gone down. But it doesn't, and what instead happens is we get this insane, like, yo, listen, I killed the Goblin.
Yeah.
Remember, I dodged out of his way, and he got stabbed by his own glider.
Yeah.
I could have stopped it, but
He was about to
didn't.
stab him with a glider too, which is the funniest part. That
Mhm.
he's about to do the same thing for
Parallels.
the third time.
Yeah.
So first stabbed him, then stabbed
Stabbed him.
Aunt May, and then it was about to stab him again.
Mm-hmm. And moving towards Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
I feel like we finally kind of they throw in a little like sub thing, a few mentions about how like after Gwen Stacy died at his hand, and that is really what they focus on because like they focus on basically every Spider-Man having a different Uncle Ben moment. Yes, Andrew Garfield had Uncle Ben, but they focus way more on the Gwen Stacy death in this one. So like Tobey Maguire's great power, great responsibility moment is the Uncle Ben's death.
Yeah.
And while it happens to Andrew Garfield, the real moment is when Gwen Stacy dies. And then for Tom Holland,
Yeah.
it's now when Aunt May dies.
I just thought it was so sad to imagine that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man has just been going around for like what 10 years,
Becoming increasingly
Like-
more brutal.
just becoming like more angry and brutal and depressed after Gwen died.
After
Like it's
the-
just sad to me to think that he's been going through that for like the past. Yeah.
Several years at least.
Yeah, it's been like I can't remember when the movie came out. Maybe like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, I guess. Probably about then.
So maybe like less than
14 maybe.
10 years.
Yeah,
but
so like a while, but
So,
it was
it's-
said like
it's
he hasn't
incredibly
he hasn't
sad,
become an
yeah.
emo, like he's not putting on a black suit or anything.
yeah.
He's not Bully Maguire, but like he definitely was like not. And my favorite thing about the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man is because like he was the quippiest one.
Yeah.
He was the one who, when he was in the suit, I felt Spider-Man the most. As much as we love to shit on Amazing Spider-Man 2 for all of the reasons involved with like the studio interference with that movie,
yeah.
I always felt that Andrew Garfield was the closest we got to Spider-Man in terms of like how he acts when going off of criminals. Spider-Man 2 is a bad movie, but that first 10 minutes,
Yeah.
up until when he graduates, I legitimately will go back and watch that every now and again because
Yeah.
he's quipping around, he's whipping things like. I think he gets hit by the cop car, and the car just keeps going. And then Gwen calls him, and it's like, "Where are you?" It's like, first on Broadway, second on Broadway, third on Broadway, 5 minutes, 10 tops. Like I thought that's legitimately funny,
Yeah.
and I enjoy that stuff. So to see him now in this one be like, "Yeah, but I messed up. No, like Gwen is dead, and it's my fault."
Yeah.
This. So when he finally gets the redemption, he gets to finish by saving MJ. I forget what this MJ's actual name is because it's not Mary Jane
It's
Watson.
Michelle Jones.
Michelle Jones Watson, I think.
Yeah, Michelle Jones Watson.
Yeah. So that one, when he saves her, there's a moment where he asks her if she's okay,
Yeah.
and then she asks him if he's okay.
Yeah.
Because he gets like this redemption of like,
Yeah.
I couldn't save her, but I saved you.
I told you, I was like, dude, I think that was a trigger. Like once when he
Yeah.
caught her, I was like, oh, he just like automatically started like crying, and I was like,
Which
Yeah,
I think would
he-
be funny to point. It would be like, does this happen every time that Spider-Man catches someone falling from a building? Does
they're just
Andrew
like,
Garfield?
Spider-Man, are you weeping under your
Yeah.
mask?
Are you okay?
No.
And
That's terrible.
That-
But I mean,
It's like, no, no. But finally, we get to Tom Holland Spider-Man, who has the most growth out of all of these characters.
Yeah.
And I don't know how true this is, but the rumor going around right now is that Tom Holland signed for 3 more Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And I fully believe it after watching this.
Yeah. They
Because
set up
while
for
this wraps
Venom
up,
and-
while this is absolutely a wrap-up of this home trilogy of these past 3 movies,
Yeah.
the next ones is a much different Spider-Man. It is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where this early movies, we were like, he was figuring out, like, what are his motivations? What is, like, his growth? Like, where does the great power come great responsibility? The key thing of Spider-Man come in.
Yeah.
And now we've got it. You know, we essentially got 3 movies building up to what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And now in this movie, we've barely even touched on Doctor Strange, even though you're wearing the eye. You know, the Doctor, which that never gets explained. He's wearing the eye in a certain scene, even though it was crushed, it was destroyed. They never touch on it.
So it wasn't a fake Doctor Strange, apparently. We figured
Oh no,
that out
Thanos
now.
crushes a fake, doesn't he? And then he gives him the real eye.
Yeah, he takes out the real stuff.
But does he pull it out of the element? I thought he just gave him the gold casing or whatever, or the bronze. I don't know. I would have to go back.
I can't remember.
And watch Infinity War.
I mean, taking the eye off of him was like incredibly
Difficult because he's got like the crimson band as a Sidorak
I
and
think
stuff,
he had
you know?
to take it out to give it to Thanos. I think that he had to take it out of the casing. I don't think he crushed
I
the
thought he
eye.
just pulls it from his hand. This is some real Mandela effect. Like,
I really think
going
that
on.
he was like, and opened up and he was like, and brought it out and had it.
and then maybe he goes like that because I remember him doing that. I don't know why.
I can't remember.
Like rolling his arm out. We've had essentially 3 movies of Tom Holland Spider-Man becoming Spider-Man, and
Yeah.
that makes me appreciate the Homecoming more. You know, even though I still don't particularly enjoy that movie the most, and
Yeah.
not even for the reasons that like, most people didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed Far From Home. And this is amazing. Now if this is true and we get 3 more Tom Holland Spider-Man movies,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm truly excited for what now we have. What I think is the purest and most accurate on-screen depiction of we've ever had of Spider-Man. You know, even though at this point we just got to assume that Uncle Ben just does not exist in the MCU.
We do, which is like
especially
I
because
thought they did. I thought that was mention of him, but I guess not. I don't know, but
we just got to assume because even when we see Aunt May's grave,
yeah,
there's no Ben there.
yeah.
So, and I assume if they were married, and then I guess if
And she was mingling
trying to
and stuff.
remember
She
exactly
clearly was
how
not like a
Aunt-
widow of like a loving husband. Like
yeah, but they.
I'm pretty sure that she was just a
I think
single
the most we ever
sister
get
of
is
his
like
mom.
she's been through some shit, which
Yeah.
you know.
We assumed was Uncle Ben.
You're
but I
raising
guess-
your kid, your sister's kid because they're gone.
And I never know what happens to Spider-Man's parents. The only movie that even tried to explain that.
Don't look into it. Just
Yeah.
whatever you do, don't look into it because it's awful. I hate
Andrew
it.
Garfield was the only movie that tried to explain that, and it was very weird.
That was in a deleted scene.
With the plane crash and everything, was it?
Okay, no, you're thinking of okay. At the end of the second movie, there's a deleted scene where Richard Parker shows back up.
So they had a whole new plot
Yeah,
planned
because
out
that was
for
going to be
Amazing Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man 3. But regardless, don't even bother. Just don't even bother going into.
Don't.
I'm trying to remember the name. It's Richard and it's not Mary Parker. What is her name?
I was thinking Mary too.
Is it Mary?
I don't think
Is
so.
it Mary and May? I hate that.
I hope it's not.
But
Hey Google,
no, do it.
what is Spider-Man's mom's name?
Here is some information from the web that might possibly help. According to Wikipedia, Richard and Mary Parker are
Mary.
fictional characters
Okay, hey,
in
Google,
American
stop.
comic books
We
published by
both knew
Marvel
the
Comics.
name.
Yeah, it's almost like I've been reading this shit for way too long.
Whoa.
But
Richard and
we've
Mary
had
Parker.
essentially 3. It makes it all make so much more sense, and I don't know if this is their plan all along or if this is new. You know, if they're just going from what they have.
Yeah.
But we have now gotten a Spider-Man who No one knows his identity. Absolutely no one knows his identity.
Literally,
He gives that
yeah.
up. He gives that up to be able to save everything. He gives up MJ. He gives up Ned. He gives up his connection to all of the Avengers.
Yeah.
He gives up literally everyone. Nobody on Earth, no one in the universe knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's big because like the secret identity thing has always been a big deal to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a handful of times he's been unmasked and it never goes well. You know, but now we have constructed this ways of events where, or I'd say we have the audience, but the writers have
Yeah.
constructed the series of events where we have everything you assume out of Spider-Man now is what Spider-Man is. Where he's previously we've had this like Spider-Man who's like he's got a lot of cool tech and he's funded by Stark and he's got all
Yeah.
and he's
That was all of
on the
Homecoming, was
Avengers.
figuring out the tech stuff.
Yeah,
And then
it's
actually,
it makes me appreciate it more now.
Far From Home too,
because
actually was a
it
lot of
was-
tech stuff.
Yeah, it makes me appreciate it more now because he's so much. It was such a different approach,
Yeah.
actually. But now we have a Spider-Man who no one knows who he is. He is on his dead, so he really doesn't have anybody.
Yeah.
He's not with MJ. He's poor and living in a rundown apartment. You know, which very typical of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He might be going to college. I don't know if they really brought up the MIT thing again.
Yeah. No.
If
It
whether
was,
he's
it was
gonna
like
be
Ned
going
and MJ
there.
are going, and it wasn't.
Ned and MJ are going, but I
It's
don't
like-
know why Peter wouldn't also be going. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But what we set up also.
Okay. Wait. Okay. So here's the thing. So nobody knows who Peter Parker is,
Mhm.
but he still saved the admissions lady on the bridge. She may not remember that he's Peter Parker, but she may know that Spider-Man saved her.
Well, if they don't,
She
know-
goes to him, or he goes to her, is like, "Hey, I'm Spider-Man. I saved you on the bridge. Remember me? But I realized Peter Parker. I need your help getting into this school."
I think, but if we go even further back than that, if no one knows that he's Spider-Man, then what reason do they have to deny him into entering into MIT?
Yeah.
You know, so maybe he's going there, maybe he's not. I'm kind of cool to see because now,
But nobody knows who he is.
yeah, he's just a dude.
That's
No,
but
they know who.
he doesn't have any school records.
Oh yeah,
he
Peter
doesn't
Parker.
have.
Peter Parker just doesn't exist.
I was
does
playing
he?
devil's advocate, like saying he could get in, but realistically, he has no school records, no driver's license, probably
Did Doctor
no
Strange
identification.
Did Doctor Strange just eliminate his social security
He
card?
literally erased him off the face of the earth. And I thought,
Okay, I thought
forgot.
what was happening was that all that happened was that everyone forgot that Peter. But no, is that what happened? Where Peter Parker just doesn't exist anymore?
Did you not understand? Okay, because that's why I whispered to you when he was beside Happy at the grave,
Uh huh.
because Happy didn't know who he was.
Yeah, no one knows who he is. No one knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
No one knows that Peter Parker is
exists?
anybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's why Happy didn't know who he was, because Happy had no clue that. But he knew his Aunt May. He didn't know Peter, which I
Okay.
thought was pretty funny.
So yeah, maybe he can't go to college. I
That's
don't
what I'm
know.
saying. He probably has no records of any kind, and even if he did, he wouldn't know how to access them because nobody knows who he is. I don't know.
I don't know. That's something that we'll figure out soon. But the thing I'm most excited about is all of you people that were screaming, "One more day, one more day." They do get rid of his relationship. It's not a marriage, but he does get rid of his relationship. But you know what they do that story didn't? We now get to watch. What's her name? I forgot again.
Michelle
Jones
Watson.
Michelle Jones Watson and Peter Parker fall in love again. And you know what? I am all for it because these two are adorable together.
See, Tom Holland's signed for 3 more movies. Zendaya, we don't know yet.
You know what? Sign her. You know what? Give her more work. 'Cause you know what? I want to see Zendaya in everything because she's fantastic.
I love Zendaya.
She's good in
I-
everything I've seen her in.
Yeah.
You know, like she's so unbelievably talented
Yeah.
and does like such a good job with these like kind of quirky characters. I love it. I legitimately love it. And you know what? I want to see they give them one scene after the memory is wiped, and where he's like, you really see him kind of debating, because like, do I do this again, or do I just go? And like it's a really thing, but I really hope that we get to see them like go through this all over again.
Yeah.
You know, as for Ned, like Ned's now can use magic now, which is crazy to think. I don't know if they're gonna go with that
I
any
don't
further.
know if he knows that though, because
Oh yeah, because it's gone.
he doesn't know that he doesn't know that he knows Spider-Man because he doesn't know that he knows Peter. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of like how this memory stuff works that does not make sense, but I'm sure they'll go further into it eventually.
But everyone knew that May knew Spider-Man because Happy.
I don't know.
But Happy knows Spider-Man too.
Then what? Also, what does like? What does? What does the Avengers think happened? Did Tony Stark just pick up this kid and like drop him? We're really poking some holes in plot, but it's just stuff that's not explained yet. It's not stuff that wasn't explained. It's just stuff that hasn't been explained yet. Does Captain America? I assume Captain America at some point read Peter Parker's file at the Avengers complex and was like they were like, because they were definitely scouting. Like Tony Stark knew that Spider-Man was about before he recruited him.
Yeah.
So, huh?
My thing is that okay, so nobody knows Peter Parker exists. People still know Spider-Man exists, which means Captain America knows he exists.
Knows that Spider-Man.
Captain America isn't
Well,
actually
he's
in
old.
the present day. Who else knows who Peter Parker is? Who else met him other than Doctor Strange?
Happy Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange knows Spider-Man though. Who does Doctor Strange think Spider-Man is?
Yeah, what does his memory look like? That's weird. But
We didn't get any scenes of Doctor Strange, so we don't know how Doctor Strange sees Spider-Man.
I'm just curious. But what we have now is
Also, just general question. Next movie, we're seeing Doctor Strange get retribution for messing with reality for Spider-Man, I assume. But if he doesn't know Spider-Man is Peter Parker,
what does he think happened?
what does he think? Why does he think
Doctor
he messed with
Strange
reality?
has memory of casting the spell. He just doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
That's confusing.
That is confusing.
That's
that you know what? That add that you get -1 movie. You're now on 99.
If the plot of the next movie hinges on the fact that he changed Spider-Man's, if he did a spell for Spider-Man, shouldn't he have some kind of memory of Spider-Man and why he cast the spell? That's gonna be very confusing in the next movie. They're gonna have to figure out some way to amend that.
Let's move to the post-credit scenes because there's two.
Yeah.
For all of you wondering, there's two post-credit scenes. If you watch this far,
Yeah, just sit during the credits. I know it's annoying, just do it. Some people like to read the credits.
I do. I like to. There's two post-credit scenes. The first one, we have Tom Hardy's Venom, in Mexico.
Yeah.
I assume it's Mexico. There's like someone with like there's a hat that says Mexico, and
there's something that says Mexico.
and the
but
guy
he was
speaking
also
Spanish, I
at a
think.
resort in Mexico
Yeah.
when the last movie ended.
oh, okay, fair enough. Tom Hardy's Venom is there and is like, wait, so this happened in this universe and this happened. So I guess he isn't a part of this universe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess but
Yeah, he's not. He does not have the Avengers in his universe.
yeah,
But now that he knows that and he was sent back, doesn't mean his memory was erased.
yeah.
So now he's going back to his universe with knowledge there's another universe where there's the Avengers and Iron Man, the Hulk.
Hulk and all this stuff.
I don't know. I don't know how much he was told. Yeah,
by that one
he
bartender.
was making fun of Thanos, and the guy was like,
Dude,
"Dude, with my family for 5 years," and he was like,
oh, okay. But when Tom Hardy gets zapped back to his dimension,
"Yeah,
we get a little close up on a little black glob that is left over. That is left over where Venom splooged on a bar. And now I'm assuming our next baddie
because
for
he
Tom
was
Holland.
drunk. He
Oh.
was. That was what was happening before Venom
Yeah.
left. He was actually drunk, which makes sense why he would accidentally lose a piece of himself. He's kind of falling apart at the seams. That's how drunk he was.
If that's the case, Venom should never drink.
Yeah.
If you
Just
run
dropping symbiotes.
if you run the risk of producing more symbiotes that will take over like people on the earth, never drink. As Tom Hardy, do us all a solid and just smoke some weed or something. Okay?
Weed does multiplication of the symbiote.
No.
No matter what you do,
Um,
symbiotes multiply.
so Venom's probably our next baddie for the next movie.
You think it's gonna be the next? Because I was thinking
It's
next
either going to
movie,
be the next movie or the
but
one after that.
I just don't know how they're going to establish that because now the tiny
Yeah,
symbiote
Venom
piece
is in
is in
Mexico.
Mexico. So is it going to take over something else? We've had animals taken over by the symbiote
you
before,
know,
so it's not.
yeah,
crazy to
we're gonna
think.
get Venom T-Rex. There's it could latch on to one of the other hosts, and those could be our baddies. You know, it could be like Venom's been on multiple people. It could get on Flash or Lee Price or somebody. You know,
That would be insane if it was Flash that had it. Like he was
Yeah.
Agent Venom, isn't that the name of the character?
yes.
Agent Venom.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I get Lethal Protector and Agent Venom confused.
Lethal Protector.
Yeah.
You thought Lethal Protector was
Agent Venom, yeah. And that's such a different Brock and stuff, but like
Yeah.
it would be maybe that's our Venom, or maybe Peter gets it himself and has to deal with it the same way Tobey Maguire did.
They have to be bringing Flash back, right?
I don't know.
You know why
He
I say
doesn't
that?
know who Spider-Man is now.
Because he dyed his hair blonde just for a few scenes in this movie where he's a complete asshole and is not helpful at all. So he dyed his hair blonde to be like the original Flash, and now he's just not in the movie anymore. I don't know. Is that really how they're gonna do that guy? Are they really gonna do him like that?
I mean, is he gonna enlist in the military, get his legs blown off, and then get the symbiote all in one movie? Because that's how the
That'll be the next Venom movie. We have
Next-
Flash
Oh
and
my gosh. Also, there's no way.
because we have to remember
There's
that if they do a universal collapse where all the universes are combined into one, which will be a complete copy of what happened during Crisis on Infinite Earths in the DC TV crossover. Just saying.
just saying.
So if they do that, they should not do that, or we just have the symbiote coming from another universe and Venom and Morbius and
Oh yeah, we saw a trailer
Blade.
for Morbius before the show.
maybe they're different universes than Spider-Man
Well, we're
now.
getting a new Blade with
Is-
with the actor for Cottonmouth.
But is it gonna be in the Tom
Luke
Holland
Cage.
universe? Like who?
No, the
Like,
new
is Tom
Blade movie,
Holland-
the new Blade movie is in the MCU.
See, okay, yeah. So we're
So
getting
which also
Tom
implies
Holland,
vampires are around too in the MCU.
which we have not seen
We-
yet,
yeah.
obviously. But
I don't think Morbius,
Morbius
is gonna have
is-
anything to do with that.
Morbius isn't MCU though. It's Sony.
Yeah.
Right.
Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows?
so that's the
with
thing is
this
that
and the
it's-
Venom
it's kinda
stuff,
confusing.
who knows what Marvel and Sony's relationship is right
Yeah.
now? You know, it seems like they've got something working out, but like, if I'm willing to bet here, if I was a betting man, if I had to guess, probably what's going to end up happening is Marvel's going to take care of all the live action shit,
Yeah.
and then Sony's going to bank off the Spider-Verse animated stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's probably like where they're going to draw their lines. And they even make jokes about, or like a reference, like there's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere. It's like, I mean, yeah.
It's so funny that now we have Spider-Verse live action and animated. So it's like, damn it! Now I want live action Miles Morales talking to all the other live action Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
we need more Spider-Man crossovers.
Donald Glover is Prowler and all that.
I love
knows?
crossovers. You know me,
Who's
like
not-
I can't help it.
Who knows? Because even, I think in Homecoming, Donald Glover like refers like to us like his nephew is like pretty young, doesn't he? So maybe they're just banking off of like, oh, you know what they're doing? Shit.
What?
It just occurred to me because with all the younger characters they're introducing, they're probably gonna do the champions. Kamala Khan and Hawkeye's daughter, Kate.
Kate.
I don't remember.
Her name is
Kate Upton. No.
no. Her name is Quinn
I don't know.
Quiver.
Quiver. There you go. Kate Quiver. That's her name.
You know.
So they're probably gonna do that. I'm gonna bank that they might do that. Probably not soon. That might be like way down the line or whatever. But like we're at the point, Marvel, where I get it. Like you got Spider-Man now and you're doing some cool stuff with him. Your other properties, you're kind of Shang-Chi and the Eternals got
We're
movies.
neglecting.
Moon Knight is getting a TV show or something. you're
Drowning me
really
in movies, Marvel, please.
you're going down on the list.
Please.
You're going down. Like you were like, shit, we did all the Avengers. But then again, I'm a complete hypocrite because now they got the Fantastic Four and the X-Men coming in, and the X-Men on their own could sustain a phase of like 2 phases of Marvel movies. I've told you about what I would want out of the X-Men, right?
No.
I would introduce the X-Men if I was John Favreau and I was way more talented and had the opportunities that he did to get to the position that he's in, and using your talent to create one of like the greatest cinema pillars to happen in the past 20 years.
Iron Man.
I would take the X-Men, and I would do the exact opposite of what the Fox movies did. The Fox movies took the X-Men and were like, team movie. All of them are on the X-Men. We're all doing the X-Men movie. I would treat the X-Men the exact way they treated the Avengers, where each of them are going to get their solo films.
Yeah.
And then you put them on a team. Because I'm going to be real. Literally every X-Men could hold a movie.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
They're recasting the X-Men, right?
I don't know. We don't know. Who knows? We know nothing.
That's going to be so weird seeing the solo movies if they recast. But then again, I don't want them to use the same actors. What time is it?
How long have we been doing this? I don't care. I don't
Probably
care. There's so
about
But
an hour and a
imagine
half.
you get a
is
Storm
the time
movie
of it?
that ties into Black Panther. You get Wolverine. You get like a Gambit and Rogue movie.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And
That'd be
then heck, you could take Charles Xavier and Magneto, or just Charles on his own, and do like a thing with Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And build those two up, and then boom. That might be what I think they'll go after the multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
Because we know Fantastic Four is slated. I'm not sure what year that is, but I think they're really going to bank on this multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
And I think after that is when we're going to be really diving into the X-Men.
You think they're doing Doctor Doom, or you think they're doing?
Oh, for Fantastic Four? No, with Eternals, I bet they're banking on Galactus.
Yeah.
As much,
I kind of thought that,
at
but I don't
some
know,
point we might be gearing up for Secret Wars. I think there's something about that going on.
live action
with the
Galactus is gonna be
Skrulls.
so weird.
But like, you know what, Marvel, you won me back. This movie proved to me that you can still do some great stuff. But I think the thing that burnt me out was just that because of COVID, everything had to come out in like 3 months to put us back on schedule.
Yeah.
So basically, in the past, since October, or whenever Black Widow came out, really,
Yeah.
we've had to essentially just be back on. We had to catch up. We had to play
Yeah.
catch up to get all of 2020 into this period of time.
Like I said,
so
I'm
that
just
we can be
drowning,
back on
like
schedule.
in shows, like just
And
other
you were
things that I
gone for 9 months.
only 6
months.
months, but I couldn't watch TV for 2 of them, and
Yeah.
four of the months I just did not.
Feel like it.
I did. The only thing I watched was Legend of Tomorrow every once in a while, and I
Yeah.
didn't keep catch up. So
And now there's so much, and I feel like it's got to be intimidating for a new Marvel fan to get into this stuff. I don't know how you do it. I don't
that's
envy
the hard
you.
part about suggesting either Marvel or the Arrowverse to anyone
Is there so much?
is that you're basically telling them commit hours and hours and hours to
Mhm.
watch seasons of
Literal
multiple different shows
days.
just to get to these crossover events. I was like, if you want to watch one of these crossover events, you have to watch probably a collective.
And not all of it is good.
3
Both
seasons,
on DC
just for
and on
Arrowverse.
Marvel.
For Arrowverse, you have to watch the first 2 seasons of Arrow, the first season of Flash to watch their crossovers, or the first 3 seasons of Arrow and the first season of Flat. There's just so
It's
much.
just too much. Too much.
Yeah, because it was
timeline.
League of Assassins at the end of the first season of Flash when all that shit happened with the reverse Flash. So, but it was just really four collective seasons to watch one crossover. I mean,
Mhm.
like you're
It's a lot. That's a lot. And then
you're
you take
basically
that-
suggesting somebody.
And maybe TV shows are more
give up all their
digestible for
freaking
some
time.
people than movies, but like for me, movies are way more digestible than TV shows.
I love TV shows, but I know they take time, and I know not everyone can commit to that. So it's hard to suggest that
Yeah.
because these TV shows are the ones you have to watch multiple to understand a whole universe of stuff. And as much as I love deep lore, not everyone
everyone's
not
into it,
everyone
you know.
likes that.
Like I'm the type of person, like I'm gonna if I get into a book series or stuff, like I'm going through all of it, like I'm deep diving into this stuff.
Yeah, and I
Ooh.
want to like experience
That-
all of
I'm
that.
wearing
when
a
I- when I
Dungeons
get
and
a
Dragons
universe, yeah.
shirt. Not exactly like
I'm wearing it.
known for
Flash.
for people creating simple
Yeah.
plots,
Yeah.
Um
You're
But
the
if
DM.
I think that's about all I have to say about Spider-Man.
Me too. I'm just I just have to say what I said earlier is that
Go see it.
go see it, and seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in that movie just hit something in the primal pit of my brain, made me so happy. I hope everyone else got that feeling too, because
And
I think
while
they did. I think
while
did
they
pretty
are
good.
such a great seasoning on this movie,
Yeah,
they are not the biggest and most important part of this
Tom
film.
Holland really did carry that bitch.
carries this movie.
He did not have any problem leading it. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire did great, but Tom Holland was a great leading
this is
man.
a real
and he
thought.
made me cry.
This is a real thought I had while we were waiting on the movie to start. The Uncharted trailer came up, and I'm a huge fan of the Uncharted games.
Yeah,
But I was watching the trailer. I'm like, man, he feels stilted in this. Like, just in the trailer, it just does not feel like. And that might be because, like, you know, this is a video game movie, and they don't have the best track record.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if I'm gonna see it. I'll wait for reviews on that because I love Uncharted. I'll eventually see it.
yeah.
But then I watched this movie. We watched a trailer for a Tom Holland movie. I had this negative thought. Then I go in to watch Spider-Man. This is like some of the best acting we've had out of the entire MCU is in Tom Holland in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah.
And that, I think so much of that comes down to its writing. The writing is perfect, like near perfect. And I don't fundamentally believe in that, like the perfect ideal concept, but like he does such a good job, and it makes me so much more excited to see where the rest of these are gonna go.
Yeah.
Not just for Spider-Man, but the entire MCU.
Same. And that new costume looked really cool.
Oh yeah, he sews. And by the way, he's no tech. He sews his new costume.
Yeah.
So we are really to just like the bare bones Spider-Man now.
Yeah. And again, I have to say that I love Spider Bros. Spider Bros was some of my favorite moments in the movie.
You leaned over to me. It's like Spider Podcast.
Yeah, because they were talking like all of them, like three, like talking together about like, hey, okay, guys, what's the worst villain or what's the craziest villain you guys have had? That's a good question. And he was like, started answering. I was like, dude, it sounds like they're doing a freaking podcast right now. I was like, what the heck? Because like they were going back and forth. And he was like, I really appreciate you saying that. I started saying something, and I was like, why does he sound like he's like doing like a scripted response on this bitch? Like, what is he do?
Is there a teleprompter?
Yeah, I was like, is he like networking or like doing a public
Spider networking?
ad? Yeah. So but yeah, it was cool like seeing him crack his back and then be like, yeah, I've got mid back problems, and have like the relatable Peter Parker moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hell yeah.
I
think this was a good Peter Parker, because we're about to get through Peter Parker movies, but we're also moving on from Peter Parker in a lot of ways with Spider-Verse, the animated one. This was a good like
Miles.
tribute to Peter Parker before we move on to probably some bigger properties without Peter Parker.
There was a TikTok I saw about the new Spider-Verse. And by the way, there is not a coincidence that the Spider-Verse trailer dropped like a week ago before this movie.
They just know how to market.
They know how to market, and they know how to make you market for them. Because they knew the second that trailer dropped that they were going to be, is Miles going to be in this movie? Did they know what they're doing?
Yeah.
They know how to use you. But you know what? I'm cool with it because it builds hype behind movies, and I'm happy when other people are hyped about a movie, even if I'm reserving thoughts, or even if I'm like, maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't. Being in the theater, I'm so glad to be back in theaters.
Yeah.
Like I got my third jab the other day, my booster. It's been however many months, and I'm so happy to be able to go back to these movie theaters and just have that experience again. It's the inspiration for like this set, like look at movies, and me and you on couches, and we're watching movies, and we're talking about them. I'm
That's
so
what
happy.
You started going and see movies in the theater, so I was glad to be back doing that. Like, you just do a few review videos. We don't have to do commentaries.
Yeah,
We do have to do commentaries.
We do have to.
It's our job.
Yeah, we have to. I'm so happy just for that camaraderie to be back.
Yeah.
And it's just go see the movie. Go see it. We've been rambling for over an hour about it. I did. It's fantastic, and I'm excited. And I'm not gonna sleep for a while because this is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, and I talk about how like the Spider-Man PS4 game is such a good representation
Yeah.
of Spider-Man. Tom Holland Spider-Man right now feels like that he could grow into that Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You know, and grow into the comic Spider-Man, grow up into Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As for or what I was saying earlier, I completely forgot. I saw a TikTok a while ago about Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And how cool would that movie be if, for the majority of the movie, I keep want to say Terry McGinnis. That's Batman Beyond. What is 2099's name?
I have no clue.
Miguel Harris? Is that it? Whatever. But how cool would it be for those two characters to both be speaking Spanish for the majority of the movie? Because they both speak it. And how people wouldn't have problems with like foreign films and stuff if that was the case. You know, like the next generation wouldn't.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be really cool. It kind of honor a lot of cool like heritage stuff. Because like, and you can do that because these new movies are like in such. You can do whatever you want with Spider-Verse. Like these live action movies are held by the confounds of reality and stuff.
Yeah.
You can do literally whatever you want in animation, which is why I love it. And not to say you can't have you can't speak Spanish name in the live action movies, but people would be up in arms about it, you know. But I feel like you might be able to get away with that in the animated things. And I'm excited. We got Spider-Gwen back. We're seeing more Spider-Gwen. We're seeing more Miles Morales. We're getting 2099. I'm sure we're gonna get other Spider people too.
And we know the Spider-Verse movie is a two-parter.
Yeah, it's a
We're gonna
two-parter.
get a lot of content out of that.
This is my only concern with Spider-Man stuff right now, is that in about 5 years, what was the math we did? If all the rumors and stuff were true and the trailer and stuff, we got 3 Tobey Maguire movies, 2 Andrew Garfield movies, 6 Tom Holland movies, and then 3 Spider-Verse movies. It's like 14 movies. Or 13 to 14 movies.
Yeah.
That means there would be 13 or 14 Spider-Man movies in like the next 10 years. By the time we're like in our 30s and stuff.
Yeah. At least we'll have plenty of stuff to show our kids if they want to be Spider-Man fans.
Ooh, it's a good time to be a Spider-Man fan. Let's just
Yeah.
hope we don't oversaturate the market.
I hope we don't do. But I mean, honestly, like.
But they seem to be doing new and creative things with it. So
That's the thing, is the movies just seem to be getting better. I mean, I love Tobey Maguire movies. Like, those were my childhood. Andrew Garfield movies, I also saw those when I was pretty young. So I enjoy both of them. But I've always thought Tom Holland was the best of both worlds with Peter Parker and Spider-Man. So I just seem to keep liking them better and better. And this one was a great example of that. So I don't think that we're at all either. I don't think we're going downhill. So I think that we've got plenty of room to grow. I'm freaking ready because I love Tom Holland and Spider-Man. So I'm ready to move forward. I love Spider-Verse too.
yeah.
Because I was a fan of Peter Porker as a kid, so seeing him on screen was like
awesome.
really nerdy for me. I was like,
All right. I think it's time we wrap up.
yes, sir.
Cool thing.
I'm ready. So just go see the movie.
Go see it.
Well, were
Go
you
see it.
listening?
I've been
Were
on
you
the pole the
listening?
entire time, haven't I?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't care. You know the name
Go
of the
see the
show.
movie.
Will you sing us off with the theme song?
What's the theme song?
The Spider-Man theme song.
Okay.
The theme song to True Lies. No, the
The theme song
I
to
don't know why
Batman
was
Beyond.
that was the first thing.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web and he sighs. Breaks her neck and Gwen Stacy dies. Look out, here comes Spider-Man.